Well, greetings. This is David Zaitsev, and we're going to do a little experiment here with a paper sack, which may be our victim, except that hopefully no one is actually going to be victimized. This is just a prop to demonstrate what a person maybe can hit at a certain distance and how quickly it may take. So the question is, you know, they're police. Police at times deal with men who have knives. A policeman may have a gun on his hip, and if a man is running at a policeman with a gun, and the policeman is going to draw and fire and protect himself, what distance is reasonable? Where is the guy with the knife? Where is he dangerous? And policemen have done studies of this, and it turns out that if the policeman is relatively stationary, the guy with the knife can actually get to the policeman oftentimes if he's within 20 feet and moving quickly. Within 20 feet and moving quickly. This is what's done, I think these are called Toiler studies, the Toiler distance. I forget exactly what they are. In any case, so I recently had a situation with a fellow who seemed to not be armed, although we should always presume that someone is armed. And so we're going to take a look at what can be done with a paper sack and various distances. We have right here a measuring stick. It's about 3 feet long. We're going to measure off at times 3 feet, 4 feet, 4.5 feet. We're going to see if it's possible to hit a paper sack with various situations. And then we'll do some of the same things again. We have this 15-pound weight right here. Now, at the time that a certain person was being not so nice to me, might have had a kid with him who might have weighed more than 15 pounds, but he's a lot stronger than I am. In any case, I bought this 15-pound handbell, dumbbell, whatever you would call it. I don't even know the right word for these types of things. Anyway, the question is going to be, so if you have something like this in your hand, can you move quickly and strike something that's 3, 4, 5 feet away? We're going to find that out. Or we're going to do what we can to find it out. Hopefully we won't prove or disprove anything that's false. So, the first thing we're going to do is we'll place this here. And we are going to measure out about 3 feet. So right now, the center of this bag is 8 feet away from David Zaitsev. This is actually fairly close. We'll make it easier for the bag, harder for me. We're going to make it, the beginning of the bag is 3 feet away from David Zaitsev. Wow, the wind is blowing. We need to do what we can to keep that there. Let me see here. I'm going to go inside and see if I can get something to hold that a little more stationary. Wow, it looks like I've got a... I've got
something in there to do it. Yeah.
I've got an umbrella. Let's see here.
Hey, this is fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
Oh, I should stop recording, huh?
No, you keep going. Did you stop or not?
No.
Okay, don't stop. Alright, so let's go grab our umbrella here. Let's see here. This umbrella hopefully is going to keep our bag a little bit more stationary. At least the wind will not blow it over, so we hope. Alright, now we have a somewhat stationary bag, and we're going to measure out 3 feet from front edge of the bag to the front edge of Zaitsev. And if you would, Dwayne, if you would step back about, another several feet. Okay, that's good. And we're going to put this right here. And so, now the first thing to note is, if I take no steps, and if all I do is I go like this, the farthest reach I have is about 2 feet. From shoulder to hand is about 2 feet, and if I don't move my feet, then all that we have is 2 steps. But the question is, if we step forward with one of our feet quickly, are we able to hit the bag? And I think we found out that we were actually able to hit the bag at 3 feet away. And the question is, did that take less than a second to do? I don't exactly know, but it kind of happened probably fairly quickly. And if a person had been right here instead of a paper bag, would that person have had time to react? I mean, unless he was already dodging left and right, unless he'd already placed his hands up to block a blow, this guy could have been in trouble. Now, I'm not a trained boxer, I don't profess to be. I don't profess to be super fast, but some of you might have been surprised when I took out the paper bag. At least I hope that some of you were. I don't particularly know. Now we're going to try this again. Let's see here. I've got this here. Okay, 3 feet comes to right here. And let's come, all right, let's go, let's see here. All right, so 3 feet. All right, so 4 feet is right here. So right now, we have again approximately 4 feet from paper bag to right here. And you might say, well, wow, that is a long distance away. Because if I'm not moving and I go like this, that's like 1/2 away, or even, that's even a little bit less than 1/2 away. But the question is, if you move forward in a single step, how long does it take? And are you able to actually hit something in a way that it goes flying? And I don't particularly know how long that took, but the thing is that if this had been a person, and if this person were not expecting to be hit, that could have knocked that person down. That could have done injury to that person without his knowing what to do. So now let's try this again, because there's a fellow, he's been in court with these claims. Oh well, see, I had something in my hand. I had something in my left hand, and so I couldn't possibly have been able to fight or do something very useful with what's going on. And actually what I'm going to do, before we go after this bag, I want to show you something else that's a little funny, that's interesting. Let's actually put this bag on the ground. This is, people when they fight, they don't always fight the same way. You don't always know the way in which they're going to fight, or strike, or whatever it is they're going to do. So let's imagine that I have this in my left hand or arm, and I'm speaking to a person right here, and suddenly he's saying something I don't particularly like, and I kind of don't particularly like him. And so, we're kind of happy that that's not an actual person, because that could potentially have done some damage to that person's knee. If I had hit the knee or the shin and actually knocked the person to the side, he might go to the emergency room or the hospital. We don't know exactly where, but that paper bag is now down. Now I know that you and I are heavier than a paper bag. Problem is, if we're not prepared to be hit, some of us don't react very well. Some of us are, in fact, knocked down. And I could be wrong. I think that was from about 3 feet away. I didn't test how far, what we could do anything particularly interesting. But now let's take a look here again. So let's imagine here, we are now 4 feet away, and I have this thing in my left hand and arm, and that's going to slow me down, right? You think it's going to slow me down? So, the question is, did this actually stop me from hitting the bag? And I think we have an answer here. I don't know if we recorded it, but the answer seems to be I was actually able to hit the bag even though I was holding this in my left arm. Now we're going to find out if this actually shows up, because what we've found out is from a distance of 4 feet, in the space of less than a second, on a person who is not necessarily expecting a strike, we're able to come in, and depending on the form of our strike, knock them backward, knock them to the side. Actually, I think we'll do one more before we're done. Find out something else here. So what we found out is, this thing with an umbrella in it, I don't know, what did it fly, 10 feet? 5 feet? I don't have no idea. It flew enough that I would not have wanted to be on the receiving end of such a blow. And neither would you. No one here would want to be on the receiving end of such a blow. Now there is a form of martial arts, it's called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there is what's called the red zone. And there's green zones, or I forget exactly the terms that they use. There's red or danger, and red or danger is from 1.5 feet to 4 feet away. The reason is, from 1.5 feet to 4 feet away, you're in a lot of danger if the guy is going to confront you, fight you, hit you, or strike you. Now, if he's more than 4.5 or 5 feet away, you're relatively safe, because he has to take several steps to get to you. And if he's within a foot of you, he doesn't have too much power to get to you. But supposedly, according to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're somewhat safe at 4 feet away. So we're going to test this out a little bit. Remember, right here we pressed this down. That was 3 feet away from this paper bag. And so let's see here, 12 feet, 12 inches plus 3 feet makes 4 feet. 18 inches comes to right here. So now I'm at 4.5 feet away. And so here I am talking with this phone. Suddenly I like him. And was I able to strike him in less than a second at 4.5 feet away with a single step forward? The answer is yes, although my strike came in with somewhat of a curve. I'm going to have to work on that. You know, some people prefer to strike forward. So what we've learned, or somewhat experienced, is that it is possible to do at least some strikes of the paper sack at 3 feet away, and 4 feet away, and 4.5 feet away. That's a person who's unarmed. Oh, and I guess we've got something else to show. It's kind of interesting. Something else we should think about. So, oh wow, this thing went flying and lost its umbrella here. So let's put this back in the right reasonable place. So let's suppose we have this paper sack here, and let's come back here to 4 feet away. Kind of a, supposedly, you know, you would normally think 4 feet away is a reasonable distance at which to have a conversation with someone that's not very nice to you and is happy with you. I don't know. I don't particularly think so. That's not that great of a distance. And so the question is, what else could be done? Now, I don't know if you guys realize this, but this is my pretend knife. I didn't bring out a knife. Some people think David Zaitsev shouldn't have knives out in public, so I brought a fork. I don't know if you guys noticed it during the previous exhibitions, but we just took out some of the paper bag with this fork. Now, if prior to the use of the fork you had not realized that I had a fork, what we've just demonstrated is you don't always know what weapons a person has. A person may have a knife in his pocket, a fork in his pocket, a screwdriver in his pocket. They may be in his pocket, his front pocket, his back pocket. The theory of the guy that's using a knife is, I don't want you to see that I have a knife or even know it until it's in you. I want you to feel it first before you see it, because if you see it, you're moving out of the way. So, in any case, we're going to see how this turned out, and we'll go from there. All right.
Set it. Stop it.
Yep.